There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
Maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. 1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46? You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them. 5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? $200? Could it be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built, soon-to-be-dead man.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. Even easier to carry on a stretcher, or between 2 men. Anyway, it's for future consideration. What else can you see? A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Revachol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
Interesting. Let's name it the old soul. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor.
He regrets it the moment he says it.
No, it's not. Forget I said it. We are not looking for a drummer. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right.
He doesn't seem to hear you, looking south toward the traffic jam instead. The machines are silent.
We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no? Mm-hmm. A woman or a kid? Okay. How do you know?
He knows it's hard to discern sex from a person's gait.
Understood. Anything else? What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree. Yes, everything fits so well. Carried him over, hoisted him up. Isn't it strange to have your assumptions confirmed like this? This is what someone whispering suggestions in your ear would like you to feel. The lieutenant is saying something, but you can't hear it. Suddenly, it seems like your tie is alive again. Whispering, no.
What? Withhold being content? What are you? Mild to moderately disabled? That doesn't feel like something you should do. Live a little. Everything on the damn crime scene fits like a glove. You should get shit-faced on this damn crime scene. Oh yeah, baby! Fuck this place up!
That's not going to happen. I'm not letting him make it into one of his tasks. Know your limits, Thai creature.
Detective?
The lieutenant looks at you curiously. A beat passes in silence. The wind blowing. The lieutenant doesn't understand what's happening right now. You're twisting at your tie, looking sweaty even by your standards.
I agree. Our assumptions could be wrong.
Hello again, officer. How are things? Sure, I'm done with them. Go easy on that stuff. It gave me a terrible headache.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now. Pneumonia only makes it worse. The combination forces tears out of your ducts. You manage to keep it in once. The second time, not so much. When the vomiting is done, your cheeks are wet with tears.
Nor does the wind right now.
The weight is reassuring, like a crenel on solid fortification. Pat, pat, pat.
I've seen strong men turn themselves inside out for hours. You are facing tough odds here. Alcohol withdrawal makes it considerably harder. No. This is a two-man assignment because it needs 2 officers to complete. I need your help. You need to get your shit together. We should go talk to the locals. Find something else to do while the wind changes. It's pretty bad right now.
You've gained a thought. When this dialogue is over, go to your thought cabinet and internalize it with special bonuses and effects.
Give it half an hour. Get yourself together. Then come back and have another go.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related, an endless variety of source books, lore books, and code. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal books in a board game section. Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastic... That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Sir, don't be ridiculous. I certainly will not give you money. I would be doing you a grave... One has to earn one's success, even if one is a police officer. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Annette, yes. My daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job? Wonderful! Did you talk to her? Great! On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her?
Her opinion of her daughter depends on how well she lured you into the store.
My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. You must be kidding. There's nothing like that happening. Good sir. What does a young child do with money anyway? No, I save it for her, as a fund. Indeed. Are we done with the jokes now?
Yes, we've had quite enough fun here. Right.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses.
Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her. This place is not cursed. It has a robustly magnetic energy. Good for commercial activity. My business is thriving, sir. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you.
She's attempting to mentally direct you towards the shelves. She only wants you to buy the goods. She doesn't care about the books.
Truth be told, not really. My sister brings in most of the goods. I'm sure it's all very literary stuff with well-written prose, but you don't learn about the important things in life from fabricated stories. The truth is available if you just know where to look, and you have to open and...
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved. These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over. Crime fiction is a disgrace. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work. What's more, they completely ignore the cycle. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? You see Dick Mullen on the job. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the murder house. The final case of Dick Mullen. Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring. The plaque on the shelf reads, biographies of famous people. You see a large variety of names. Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the album. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. This large map displays archipelagos. You see Ozon, Laurentide, Fas à la Mer, archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, lost little pearls of light, tiny fires. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing connections to other worlds. Words past the insulin, you have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella, Houdon. It's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is. North of Jamrock. No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have. But it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky, the world. You're still alive. It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location from when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin... They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business. Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranat. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, wholeness, unity, balance. On the other, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because the book features chapters on topics such. There's even a chapter on the ancient Serai. This is just mundane garbage. What's even paranatural about this? The throbbing in your head increases with every passing moment you gaze at this shelf. Suddenly, as if out of nowhere, a small green book becomes apparent. The title of it reads, The book contains descriptions of various pseudoscientific therapies, alternative medicines, and folk remedies involving the pale. For example, it recommends vigorously swatting one's naked body with a venik or hand broom, made from the leafy twigs of a young birch tree from the near pale. It is, and good for the circulation too. It also recommends consuming distilled spirits like vodka or whiskey that have been, among other benefits, it is alleged to restore a damaged liver. That seems improbable. For general health and well-being, readers are encouraged to take regular strolls through. These strolls promise to cleanse the mind of worries, and this is exactly what you need. There's an entire section devoted to cures for men who are struggling to perform their marital obligations.
Excuse me, sir. I believe you've been perusing that particular volume long enough. If you'd like to continue reading, I must insist you buy it. Indeed. Something about that book does seem to have spoken to you. Well, I hope it contains what you're looking for.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only. Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books?
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck. Inhabitants of Île de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're dumb if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
There is something mysterious about the curtains. Be careful. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
I warned you, you're unleashing forces beyond your understanding.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Ow, shoot. Whose moronic idea was it to just run through the door? Don't you know that things
Are your...
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading. The curtain.
Nothing. Now, please.
She speaks almost as if oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you, just as you're about to...
Sir, don't parapsychol...
She looks away, mumbling. Why is every...
No!
There is some... The curtains, tattered with age and covered in... You see a dimly lit room full...
I warned you.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before... Only an echo. No one is there. Only an echo. No one is there. Ow. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. You have no clue. It's just a wall. So many walls all over Martinaise, weather-worn, cracked, their paint peeling. That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mazov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure. Because white is the color of peace, to symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world. Nothing at all yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall. This door has been closed with a padlock. No reply. No reply. No reply. No reply. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise. What are you doing? You need to get your tools out, man. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to. You can feel tension on the other side. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room.
Do I have to open the door? Did you have a warrant?
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easy. A poor communard.
Do you have...
Let's go.
It's generally...
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me.
You're still worried. It's very worrying.
Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tune.
What's he in trouble for? Talk? He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
Ask away, policeman. Oh, that one is a scientist, a future scholar. I think he studies astrology at the community college. Something to do with all those stars around his door. He asked me to leave his drawings up on the wall. A symbol of what and how? I don't believe in equality. Never seen it work. People come and go. I don't keep an eye on it.
They probably just moved or died.
No one lives there. It's been empty for months. Impossible. I would know if someone had moved in there. Maybe it's those countercultural people again. Breaking into a house like it's a public space. Great. Young people. They're worse than rats. You know, always littering the hallways with trinkets and empty beer. The artiste. Nothing I can do about her, I'm afraid. She ruins the walls faster than I can clean. She leaves an old lady to her business. More than I can say.
She mumbles some kind of a response. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10.
Excuse me? Of course not.
You have plenty of reason to enter.
Oh, come on.
That was smart.
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Her voice is really cheerful, despite her obviously hating you.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript municipal logo.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour. Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, and again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close, a hole in the wall. Can you believe it?
The sum must have been puny.
Well, it does not disappear from my hands. No, I don't let it. These apartments are perfectly fine. I'll tell you, Martinez has a future. In a few years, it's going to blow. Don't ask me what happened. Both apartments are now unrentable. I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place. It was some kind of a moribund old man, but that was months ago. Anyway, of course.
Give me a moment. I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them. Oh, I do like wizards, and people like them.
She means clairvoyance.
I'm no one. Just, if you can call it, it's barely bigger than a closet. But I don't complain, no.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it, oh yeah, like a horse. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked too. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way. And that's just what it's like. Life and death. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop. And a sprinter, and a money printer. Can't say that. You shook him. You're a killer, a shark. Sure. Are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still boo-hoo. The system is broken. The establishment is keeping me down. That's not the fuck yeah attitude you're using. Because of the taxes, every time you wipe your ass, they got their direct and their indirect modes of tax. 98% of all your money. Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, no reply. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
This door, number 20.
Let's see.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in... We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? The smoker on the balcony. This is why we are here, right? He might know something about the murder. So tomorrow 9 p.m.?
Suddenly, he's a little worried about your memory. Don't worry. It's mostly all still here.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment. Remember, tomorrow.
The piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, you got me now. The dynamic between us has completely changed.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's
red dyed heavy fuel oil intended for exclusive...
What did you think I was using? Aquarelle?
She really did it. She's proud of it too.
Or what? You'll push me off this ledge and pry the bucket from... Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner. Does anyone in a city like this? Yes. I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like, shoot, piggy. It's what you...
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline. Fired from the water. A straight shot into Revachol. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The waves of the Martinez Inlet rolled over the fallen remains. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. Those arches acted as support for something. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. A fleet, the combined armies, they massed airships further down. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast.
The coalition. But that was a long time ago.
He does not like talking politics of this kind. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
What is implied here? That you're a drunk? She hasn't actually said it to every drunk in town. It was spoken in jest.
Of course you're not. It was only a joke. Dayton, my maiden name. I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia, the police. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will. Glad.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. Everything, right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organisation now. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a
mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, Detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. Of course. How else can I help? Of course, Detective. Take care.
Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey, yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket. Literally, oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Very well. I guess no one will build communism. No objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Did someone mention cocaine? Are we doing cocaine? Anyone? Anyone else? There's one. You should build communism precisely because it's impossible.